Snow fell without mercy across the frozen world of Era. 9. The wind carried sharp ice crystals that cut across the ground like tiny blades, erasing footprints almost as quickly as they appeared. Most colonists stayed inside reinforced shelters during storms like this, waiting for the sky to calm before stepping outside again. 9 depended on patience and caution, and everyone understood that the frozen wilderness did not forgive mistakes. A lone human moved carefully through the storm, wrapped in a thick thermal cloak that glowed faintly with stored heat. His name was Kale, a quiet scout known for traveling farther than most others dared. He worked alone by choice, preferring the company of silence and snow to crowded rooms filled with loud voices. Years of living on harsh worlds had taught him how to read wind patterns, track movement across ice, and sense danger long before it appeared. The mission he had taken that day was simple. He needed to check the outer sensor towers that monitored shifting ice formations beyond the colony. The storm had arrived faster than expected, turning a routine patrol into a difficult journey. Still, Kale did not rush. Moving too quickly could mean slipping into a hidden crevasse or losing direction entirely. He walked with steady steps, adjusting his breathing to conserve warmth. Visibility dropped further as the storm grew stronger. The sky blended into the ground until everything looked the same. Only faint beacons from distant towers gave him direction. He paused near a ridge, scanning the ground through his visor. That was when he noticed something unusual. A line of small impressions cut through the snow, almost hidden by drifting ice. Kale knelt to study the tracks. They were not human. They were too light, too narrow, and spaced in a way he had never seen before. The colony database contained records of local wildlife, but these prints did not match any of them. He felt a spark of curiosity, followed by caution. Strange tracks in a storm often meant trouble. He considered ignoring them and returning to safety. The storm was worsening, and the logical decision would be to leave. Yet something about the uneven pattern of the prints made him hesitate. They looked unstable, as if the creature had been stumbling or struggling to walk. Kale stood slowly and followed the trail. The wind howled around him, pushing against his body as he moved deeper into the wilderness. Snow gathered on his shoulders, and ice formed along the edges of his visor. He adjusted his suit's heat output and continued forward. The tracks grew more scattered, sometimes disappearing beneath fresh snowfall, before reappearing again. Whoever, or whatever, had made them was moving without direction. After several minutes, the ground sloped downward toward a frozen ravine. Cracks ran through the ice like thin veins. Kale slowed his steps, testing the surface with a probe rod. The ice groaned quietly under his weight, warning him to be careful. A faint sound reached him through the wind. It was soft and fragile, almost lost beneath the storm's roar. He stopped and listened again. There it was, a small cry, trembling and weak. He followed the sound toward a broken section of ice where snow had collapsed into a shallow pit. At first he saw nothing but white and shadows. Then a small figure moved beneath the snow. The child was unlike any human he had seen. Its skin carried a faint glow, pale blue beneath layers of frost. Thin limbs trembled as it tried to push itself free from the ice. Large eyes stared up at him, filled with fear and exhaustion. Kale froze for only a moment. He knew what this meant. The colony had records of nearby alien species, and although interactions were rare, tensions still existed between humans and many outsiders. Bringing an unknown alien back to the colony could cause conflict. Some leaders believed alien contact should remain limited and controlled. But none of those thoughts lasted long. The child was freezing. Kale dropped to one knee and carefully cleared snow away from the small body. The ice beneath had trapped part of its leg, and he worked slowly to avoid causing harm. The child flinched at his touch but did not resist. Its breathing was shallow, and faint light flickered beneath its skin like dying embers. "You're safe," he said quietly, even though he doubted it understood his words. After several tense minutes, the ice cracked loose. Cale lifted the child gently into his arms. It felt lighter than expected, fragile like glass. He wrapped his thermal cloak around it, sealing warmth inside. The glow beneath its skin flickered stronger as heat returned. The wind grew louder, reminding him that staying there meant danger. He checked his navigation system and began the long walk back toward the colony. Each step felt heavier than before. Carrying extra weight slowed him down, and the storm showed no sign of stopping. Snow blinded him, forcing him to rely on memory and instinct more than visual markers. More than once he slipped and nearly fell, but he kept moving. The child shifted slightly against him. Its eyes opened again, watching him with quiet confusion. A soft sound escaped its mouth, almost like a question. Cale adjusted his grip. "Just hold on," he murmured. As they traveled, memories surfaced in his mind. Stories told by older colonists about past encounters with alien species. Some spoke of betrayal, others of misunderstanding. Fear often grew from lack of knowledge, and many humans preferred distance rather than risk. He wondered what the colony would say when they saw him carrying an alien child through the gates. Hours passed before faint lights appeared ahead through the storm. Relief washed over him when he recognized the tall defensive walls of the settlement. Automated sensors scanned him as he approached, and the gates opened slowly. Guards rushed forward, weapons ready until they realized who it was. Their expressions changed from concern to shock when they saw what he carried. "What is that?" one of them asked. "A child," Cale replied simply. "Oh." The guards exchanged uneasy looks. One activated a communicator, speaking quickly to someone inside. Within seconds, more personnel arrived, including medical staff and security officers. The storm howled behind them as Cale stepped into the safety of the gate tunnel. Warm air surrounded him, melting ice from his cloak. He carefully handed the child to a medic, who examined it with wide eyes. "This isn't human," the medic whispered. "I know," Kyle said. Questions followed immediately. Where did he find it? Was there danger nearby? Was it alone? Cale answered calmly, focusing only on what mattered. The child needed warmth and treatment. They moved quickly toward the medical wing. People turned to stare as he passed, whispers spreading through the halls. Some looked curious, others worried. Inside the medical room, machines scanned the child's body. Strange readings appeared across screens, confusing even experienced specialists. The glow beneath its skin reacted to temperature changes, growing brighter as heat levels stabilized. Cale stood quietly near the wall, watching. A security officer approached him. "You understand this could cause problems?" she said. "I found someone who needed help," he replied. She studied his face, searching for doubt, but found none. Outside the room, voices rose in argument. Leaders debated what to do next. Some suggested contacting external authorities immediately. Others believed the alien should be isolated until more information was gathered. Cale remained where he was, refusing to leave. The child's eyes opened briefly and settled on him. For a moment, the noise and tension faded. It reached out weakly, and he stepped closer, without hesitation. Its small hand touched his glove. A gentle warmth spread through the fabric, surprising him. The faint glow beneath its skin brightened slightly, steady and calm. Medical staff noticed the change. "It's stabilizing," one of them said in disbelief. The storm outside continued to rage, but inside the room something shifted. Fear slowly gave way to curiosity. News spread quickly through the colony. A human scout had rescued an alien child from the snow, and no one knew what would happen next. Some believed danger would follow. Others whispered that perhaps this was the beginning of something new. Cale did not think about any of that. He watched the child breathe, steady and alive, and felt certain that bringing it back had been the right choice. Beyond the walls of the colony, unseen shapes moved through the storm, distant and silent, searching for something lost. Warm light filled the medical chamber as machines hummed quietly around the small alien child. Outside, the storm continued to strike the colony walls with endless force, but inside, there was a strange calm. Doctors and scientists moved carefully, speaking in low voices as they studied the readings appearing across their screens. None of them had seen anything exactly like this before. Cale remained near the edge of the room, silent and patient. He watched every movement of the child, noticing how its breathing had become steadier since arriving. The faint glow beneath its skin pulsed slowly, like a soft heartbeat made of light. Each pulse seemed to react to the warmth of the room and the gentle sounds around it. A senior medic approached him. "It is stabilizing faster than expected," she said quietly. "Your cloak's heat probably saved its life." Cale nodded but did not respond with pride. To him, the rescue had not been heroic. It had simply been necessary. Security officers stood nearby, observing everything. Their presence reminded everyone that this was not only a medical situation, but also a political one. An unknown alien inside the colony meant uncertainty, and uncertainty often brought fear. Outside the room, heated discussions continued among colony leaders. Some believed the alien child might attract danger from its species. Others argued that helping it could open a chance for peaceful relations. Rumors spread through the corridors, reaching every worker and resident within hours. Inside the chamber, the child opened its eyes again. Large and bright, they moved slowly until they found Cale. The tension in its small body eased when it saw him. One of the doctors noticed this and spoke softly. "It recognizes you." Kyle stepped closer, careful not to interfere with the equipment. The child lifted a thin hand slightly, as if unsure whether it should reach out again. He extended his gloved hand slowly. When their hands touched, a faint warmth spread through the air. Monitors flickered. Energy readings rose suddenly, but not in a dangerous way. Instead, the system seemed to stabilize, as if responding positively to the contact. The room filled with quiet surprise. "Interesting," a scientist murmured. "It may be responding emotionally." The child made a soft sound, not quite speech, but filled with feeling. Cale felt a strange sense of calm, even though he did not understand the meaning behind the sound. He stayed still, allowing the child to hold on to him for a moment. Soon, medical staff gently guided him back to give them space. They continued scanning, trying to learn more about its biology. The glow beneath the skin shifted colors slightly, reacting to different stimuli. Data filled their screens faster than they could fully understand. Meanwhile, new information arrived from the colony's outer sensors. Strange signals had begun appearing beyond the frozen horizon. At first they were faint and irregular, almost like distant echoes. Communication specialists struggled to identify their source. The news reached the medical wing quickly. Security officers grew more tense, speaking into communicators and receiving rapid updates. Cale watched their expressions change. "What is happening?" he asked. "Unknown signals outside the colony," one officer replied. "Possibly alien vessels or technology. We are still analyzing." Hail glanced toward the child, understanding the likely connection immediately. If this species had lost one of its young, they would search for it. He felt relief at the idea that help might be coming, but he also understood the risk. Fear and misunderstanding could easily turn a reunion into conflict. Hours passed as the storm slowly weakened outside. Inside the colony, debates grew louder. Some residents demanded that the alien be removed immediately, worried that it might bring danger. Others defended the rescue, saying humanity should not abandon someone in need. Cale ignored the arguments. He focused only on the child. Later, a communication specialist entered the medical room with urgency. "We are receiving visual pulses now," she said. "Not language exactly. Patterns." The scientists exchanged excited looks. They projected the patterns onto a large screen. Lines of light moved slowly, forming shapes that repeated again and again. It felt less like words and more like emotions, translated into visuals. The child turned its head toward the display. Its glow brightened slightly. "It recognizes this," one doctor said. Cale watched carefully. "It's being called," he said quietly. The specialists nodded. "Possibly. But we don't know if the intent is peaceful." Security increased throughout the colony. Defensive systems powered up quietly, ready in case the signals turned hostile. The atmosphere grew tense, and residents stayed indoors, waiting for answers. Despite the growing fear, the child seemed calmer. Its breathing remained steady, and it began observing the room with curiosity instead of fear. At times it watched Cale closely, as if studying him. During a quiet moment, he sat beside the bed. "Your people are looking for you," he said softly, unsure if it understood. The child blinked slowly. A faint ripple of light moved across its skin, spreading from its chest outward. Suddenly, the temperature monitors fluctuated. Warmth filled the room, gentle and controlled. Nearby machines stabilized instantly. A damaged power unit that had been flickering since the storm suddenly stopped malfunctioning. Everyone stared.
"It just fixed that," a technician whispered.
The realization spread quickly. The child's biology interacted with energy systems in ways no one had expected. Scientists began discussing theories rapidly, trying to understand how emotional or physical states could influence technology. Cale felt a sense of awe, but also concern. If the colony realized how powerful the child might be, some might see it as a resource instead of a person. He leaned closer and spoke quietly. "You are safe here," he said again. The child's glow softened, as if responding to reassurance. Outside, the strange signals grew stronger. Sensor arrays detected movement far beyond the storm clouds. Massive shapes moved slowly through the sky, hidden behind drifting snow. Reports flowed into the command center faster than they could process. The leadership decided that showing open hostility could lead to misunderstanding. Minutes later, a new signal arrived. Instead of sound or language, it appeared as patterns of light projected directly into the communication system. Lines and shapes moved slowly, forming repeating sequences. "It might be a greeting," a specialist suggested. Cale watched the child again. It leaned forward slightly, as if recognizing the patterns. The glow across its skin shifted color, becoming softer and more vibrant. "Let him go to them," Cale said quietly. Several security officers turned toward him immediately. "We cannot risk that," one replied. "The child knows them," Cale said. "If you keep it here, they may think we are holding it against its will." The room fell silent as everyone considered his words. Finally, a senior leader gave a careful nod. "Prepare a controlled escort," she ordered. The journey to the landing platform felt longer than usual. Cale walked beside the child, moving slowly to match its small steps. Medical staff monitored its condition, while security kept a respectful distance. Through wide windows, colonists watched with mixed emotions: curiosity, fear, and hope. Outside, the air was cold but calm. The storm had faded into drifting snowflakes. Above them, one alien vessel descended silently toward the platform. Its shape was smooth and curved, glowing faintly along its edges. The child stopped walking and looked up. Its glow brightened, spreading warmth around it. Cale felt the heat even through his suit, gentle and reassuring. The vessel landed without sound. A section of its surface opened slowly, revealing a soft light inside. Figures emerged one by one, tall and graceful, their forms different from humans, but not threatening. They moved with calm precision, observing everything quietly. Security officers stiffened, ready, but not aggressive. The alien figures paused when they saw the child. Their posture changed slightly, and a wave of light flowed across their bodies, almost like emotion made visible. The child stepped forward, leaving Kale's side for a moment. It made a soft sound that echoed faintly through the air. The alien visitors responded with similar tones, creating a gentle harmony that felt peaceful rather than strange. Kale watched carefully. He noticed how their attention shifted toward him after a moment. One of the taller figures approached slowly, stopping at a respectful distance. Instead of speaking, it projected an image into the air, a scene of the child trapped in ice, followed by an image of Kale lifting it into his arms. The message was clear. They knew what he had done. The figure bowed its head slightly, a gesture that felt like gratitude, even without words. The tension among the human guards eased slightly as they realized the visitors were not showing anger. Communication teams attempted to translate their signals, but most of the meaning came through shared images and emotions. The aliens showed scenes of searching across snowy landscapes, fear for the lost child, and relief at finding it safe. The child turned back toward Kale and reached for his hand again. He stepped forward, unsure but calm. When their hands touched, a wave of warm light spread outward, visible even to the human observers. Energy readings spiked across the colony's sensors, but instead of causing damage, systems stabilized. Flickering power lines strengthened, and communication signals cleared instantly. Scientists watching from inside gasped in amazement. The alien visitors reacted with visible surprise as well. One of them projected another image, this time showing the child interacting with Kale during the rescue. The emotion behind the image felt deep and respectful. The senior human leader stepped forward carefully. "We welcome peaceful contact," she said slowly, unsure if the words would be understood. An alien figure responded by projecting a calm wave of light that passed gently over everyone present. The sensation felt warm, like reassurance. Kale realized then that this moment balanced on a fragile line. One wrong movement could create misunderstanding. He remained still, allowing the child to guide the interaction. Suddenly, an unexpected event occurred. The child moved away from both groups and stood between humans and aliens. Its glow intensified until the snow around its feet began to melt slightly. A soft pulse spread outward, connecting both sides with warmth. Everyone fell silent. The message was simple but powerful: connection, trust, and peace. The alien leader stepped forward again and projected another series of images. This time they revealed that the child held an important role among its people, not as a ruler, but as a being deeply valued. Losing it had caused great concern, and finding it safe changed how they viewed humanity. Human leaders exchanged glances, understanding the significance. What began as a rescue had become a bridge between species. The alien vessels above slowly dimmed their defensive energy fields, signaling trust. Colony defenses responded by lowering their own systems. Kale felt relief wash over him. He had feared misunderstanding, but instead he witnessed respect growing between two worlds. The child looked up at him once more, its eyes filled with quiet gratitude. Though no words were spoken, he understood the meaning clearly. Around them, colonists watched in awe. What many expected to become a confrontation had turned into something entirely different, a meeting shaped by one simple act of kindness. Snow continued to fall gently, but the cold felt less heavy than before. For the first time since arriving on Era, 9, hope spread through the colony like warmth after a long winter. Snow fell softly around the landing platform, but the tension that had once filled the air was gone. Humans and aliens stood facing one another, separated only by a few steps of white ground that no longer felt like a boundary. The child remained between them, glowing gently as if it understood the importance of the moment better than anyone else. Kale stood quietly nearby, unsure of what would happen next. He had never imagined that a simple rescue during a storm would lead to this, a meeting that might change the future of two species. Around him, colony guards relaxed slightly, though they stayed alert, out of habit. Scientists watched from a distance, recording every detail, every movement, every sign of communication. The alien leader moved forward again. Its body shimmered faintly, reflecting the light of the cloudy sky. Instead of speaking, it projected images into the air once more. This time, the images showed vast star systems, glowing paths between worlds, and gatherings of different species working together. Then the images shifted to scenes of humans, explorers, builders, and protectors, seen from the aliens' perspective. Kale felt a quiet surprise. Humans were not shown as threats, but as beings capable of compassion. The final image showed him lifting the child from the ice, holding it close against the storm. The meaning was clear. The rescue had changed something deep in how the alien species viewed humanity. A communication specialist stepped forward, translating emotional patterns into simple language. "They are expressing gratitude," she said, "and respect." Murmurs spread among the watching colonists. Many had expected fear or anger from the alien visitors. Instead, they witnessed appreciation. The child walked slowly back toward the alien group, pausing only to look over its shoulder at Kale. Its glow brightened briefly, almost like a farewell signal, but it did not fully leave yet. It seemed to want him close for what came next. The alien leader extended a long, thin arm toward Kale. Light flowed between them, forming a gentle connection that felt warm but not overwhelming. Images entered Kale's mind, not words, but emotions and memories, shared carefully. He saw the alien species traveling across frozen worlds, guiding energy through living systems, maintaining balance between nature and technology. He felt their fear when the child had been lost and their relief at finding it safe. He also felt their curiosity toward humanity. They had watched humans from afar, uncertain whether they were allies or dangers. The rescue had given them an answer they did not expect. Kale lowered his head slightly, unsure how to respond, but feeling honored by the trust. The colony leader approached cautiously. "We wish for peace," she said slowly, choosing her words with care. "This colony welcomes understanding between our peoples." The alien leader responded with another wave of light that spread outward gently, touching humans and aliens alike. The sensation carried calm and agreement. Above them, the alien vessels shifted position slightly, their soft glow dimming further. Defensive energy fields faded completely, signaling that they no longer viewed the colony as a threat. Human defense systems responded by powering down as well. The atmosphere changed instantly. Fear gave way to curiosity. Guards lowered their weapons, and scientists moved closer to observe more clearly. Even the cold wind felt less harsh, as if the world itself recognized the shift. The child approached Kale again. It reached up, placing its small, glowing hand against his chest. A gentle warmth spread through him, not painful, but comforting. Images flashed briefly: snowstorms, quiet paths through ice, and moments of shared silence. He understood that the child was thanking him in the only way it knew. Kale smiled faintly, though he remained humble. "You're safe now," he whispered. The alien leader projected another series of images, showing a future where humans and their species worked together. Energy systems powered by living technology, shared exploration missions, and peaceful gatherings filled the air like dreams made visible. Colony leaders exchanged amazed looks. This was more than a reunion. It was an invitation. Negotiations began slowly. Human communication teams worked alongside alien projections, turning emotions into simple concepts both sides could understand. The aliens wished to form an alliance based on trust and mutual respect. They saw humanity not only as survivors but as protectors capable of great kindness. Hours passed as discussions continued. The child remained close to Kale for much of that time, occasionally moving back to its people before returning again. The bond formed during the rescue had become something meaningful. Meanwhile, colonists gathered along viewing areas, watching history unfold. Some who had once feared alien contact now felt pride that one of their own had created such a powerful connection. Stories of the rescue spread quickly, turning Kale into a symbol of human compassion, though he himself avoided attention. At one point, scientists noticed the child interacting with damaged equipment near the landing platform. Its glow brightened, and energy flowed into the colony's power grid, systems that had struggled since the storm stabilized completely. Lights across distant buildings flickered stronger, and communication channels cleared. The realization spread quickly. Cooperation between species could bring benefits beyond imagination. The alien leader projected an image of two paths joining into one. The meaning felt clear. Together, both civilizations could grow stronger. As the sun dipped low behind distant mountains, casting soft golden light across the snow, the meeting reached its emotional peak. The child walked toward its people fully, standing beside the alien leader. For a moment, Kale wondered if he would feel sadness when it left. The child turned one last time and walked back to him. It reached up again, pressing its glowing hand against his glove. A final wave of warmth passed between them, filled with gratitude and connection. Though no words were spoken, Kale understood that this moment would never be forgotten. Slowly, the child returned to its people. The alien group moved back toward their vessel, pausing only to bow their heads slightly toward the humans. The gesture carried deep respect. The ship's entrance closed softly behind them. Without sound, the vessel lifted into the sky, joining the others waiting above. The fleet remained for a few moments longer, as if giving humans time to absorb what had happened, before rising higher into the clouds. As the ships disappeared beyond the storm's fading edge, silence returned to the colony, but it was not the same silence as before. It felt lighter, filled with possibility. Colony leaders approached Kale, offering thanks and recognition, but he accepted quietly without seeking attention. To him, the rescue had not been about changing history. It had been about saving a life. Days later, new communication signals arrived from the alien species. They carried detailed plans for cooperation, shared technology, cultural exchange, and joint exploration missions. The alliance formed quickly, built on trust created by one simple act. The colony changed gradually. Fear of the unknown faded as people spoke about the future with hope instead of caution. New energy systems inspired by alien biology improved survival during storms. Human engineers and alien scientists worked together, blending knowledge from both worlds. Kale returned to his usual work as a scout, traveling alone across snowy landscapes. Many expected him to accept a leadership role or public recognition, but he chose the quiet path instead. He felt more comfortable walking through open wilderness than standing in crowded halls. One evening, while watching the northern lights ripple across the sky, he received a message. A small projection appeared before him, an image of the child, now safe among its people. The glow around it shone brighter than ever. Though no words were exchanged, the meaning was clear. Friendship. Kale smiled faintly, feeling warmth despite the cold air. Far beyond Ira. 9. News spread across star systems that a single human had rescued an alien child during a storm and changed the future of two civilizations. Many who had believed humans were only warriors began to see something different, a species capable of kindness, strong enough to reshape destiny. And on a quiet, frozen world, a lone scout continued walking through the snow, unaware that his simple choice had shocked the galaxy and built a bridge that would last for generations.